U.S. Federal Communications Commission still designates Huawei and ZTE as national security threats. Can you elaborate what role does the government or regulators play amid 5G technology competition between China and U.S.?
Are there, it's unusual for them. Usually the regulators are there to really ensure standards are adhered to, frequency is done, that players have an equal right to the market again, that no monopolies occur. And generally they don't get involved in security issues again. But in this case, of course, they've been asked to, again, because of pressure from the politicians. But generally, we've never seen really where the regulators worry so much about a security threat. It's usually about standards, it's usually about fairness, it's usually about economics. But in this case, of course, you can see where pressure has come down on them to make a ruling against the national security.
Last year, Huawei sold its Honor unit, and its global smartphone market shares massively declined due to a series of sanctions. Do you think Huawei may lose its competitiveness and standing in the smartphone market?
It's possible. The U.S. ban on Huawei, particularly in their smartphone using Google services, again, was a huge blow, especially for Huawei in Europe. Not so much in China because, of course, Google services are not used as much within China, but in Europe, for instance, or around the world, really, most smartphones, everyone wants to be able to use Google services again. So the smartphone market there, it's hard for anyone to recommend a Huawei phone to be used because of the restrictions on the OS. Now, whether their Harmony operating system takes off, which again could prove to be a winner again, and at least then they would have their own operating system and actually get stronger. But it's very hard to start a new operating system to get traction. Huawei have done their best in trying to get developers to develop apps. Again, and apps have been, some of the major apps have been developed for the Huawei phone, but again, it's very hard to, when people in Europe want to be able to use YouTube and Google Mail and everything else, because you can't recreate them. They're proprietary to Google. So it is a struggle for Huawei in the smartphone market, especially outside of China.
Speaking of Huawei's new operating system, what challenges do you think HarmonyOS faces, especially from cybersecurity and user perspectives?
The biggest challenge is getting developers to develop apps. That is the biggest thing, because you have to have an app ecosystem. Again, we're talking millions of apps in the iOS store and the Google Play Store, but Huawei would only have in the tens of thousands at the moment, really, if they have that. So that's the major thing, because people want apps, so you have to be able to develop them. And the security side of things, it's possible that with Harmony is even more secure because it's a newer operating system. Hopefully it was developed from the ground up with good security principles in place, but you can only tell how secure something is by people hacking it or trying to get into it, and that takes time, really. But the major problem for Huawei is really just getting traction, is getting people to use the HarmonyOS, and then for the apps to be there, the apps that people need. Given this year, again, COVID has kind of confused things a bit, but if they see their sales plummet in Europe and nothing's going to change in the immediate future, yeah, they might concentrate more in African countries and even other parts of Asia as well.